Well, the White House has just confirmed that President Donald Trump has signed the Memorandum of Understanding to end the war with Iran. Iran's foreign ministry says the presidents from both countries have signed it electronically and it's now in effect. Going to bring in Mike Hanna. He's live at the White House for us. So what are you hearing about this signing, Mike?
Well, one report says that President Trump signed the agreement during dinner with President Macron in France a few hours ago. Then it has been signed as well by the Iranian president. We are still waiting full confirmation of this from the president's office, from the White House, although one White House spokesman has confirmed that this has in fact happened. But the confusion about this comes from statements made by Vice President Vance earlier in the week on Monday, in which he said that the deal had already been electronically signed. And that caused some confusion because the details of the agreement had not yet been released at that particular stage. We do now have the details of the agreement, although we haven't seen the formal document which reportedly has been signed by the President of the US and the President of Iran. But US officials have been briefing reporters on the contents, the 14 points of that Memorandum of Understanding, and it appears as well that a formal signing will still go ahead in Geneva on Friday, but that will be an effective launch of the 60-day process. Although with the signing now, reported signing, it would appear that that 60 days has already been kicked off.
Now that we're getting a few more of the details about what's in this Memorandum of Understanding and starting to get some clarity about what might be the timeline for this, how is this deal being received in the US? I mean, are people seeing this as a win for Donald Trump?
Well, there's a great deal of dissatisfaction with the Memorandum of Understanding as it has been outlined to the public at this particular point, even among some Republicans who have expressed the concern that Iran is being treated leniently. They point to the fact that the US is stopping its naval blockade, or beginning to stop its naval blockade, and they point in particular to the fact that Iran will be able to export oil immediately on the beginning of the agreement. The administration responds by saying that this is a Memorandum of Understanding. It is not a deal. There are still many details to be plotted out in the weeks of negotiation that are going to follow, particularly with regard to the nuclear issue and the lifting on sanctions on Iran, as well as reparations or a $300 billion fund that is mentioned in the memorandum to be paid, or money to be put into Iran under the supervision of the United States, which says it will not provide any money. There will be no exchange of any funds from the US, insists US officials and indeed President Trump himself. But that $300 billion reconstruction aid will be provided by the Iran's allies, with the US supervising and, if necessary, granting license. So the administration attempting to be very clear that this does not involve a handing over of any funds to Iran, though once again those funds that have been frozen by the US, they will be released depending on Iranian compliance with the Memorandum of Understanding and as the negotiations proceed. So the administration fighting hard to persuade the American public and American politicians that this is not a defeat for the United States, it is not handing over any money or any funds, and that it is in fact a significant victory, as it means it's an end to the war. And as President Trump keeps on saying, it means that Iran has confirmed it will not pursue any nuclear weapons policy, though this has been official Iranian policy since the late 1970s.
Mike Hanna at the White House. Thank you very much indeed.